Concerns about President Joe Biden's age, his abysmal polling, a critical special counsel report, and the distinct lack, I should say, of public appetite for a Trump versus Biden rematch, they're all contributing factors in a question that just keeps popping up lately. You know what it is. Could Biden be replaced on the 2024 Democratic ticket? And as the November election inches closer, it's less than 9 months away. Wow, crazy to think about. But reports have surfaced of Democrats growing increasingly worried about Biden costing the party the White House. And it's not just idle chatter. No, podcaster Ezra Klein argued Friday in the New York Times in the wake of special counsel Robert Hur's report painting a picture of a frail old man that Biden should, quote, find his way to stepping down as a hero. Conservative Peggy Noonan made the same argument in the Wall Street Journal. Go out a hero. Even sportscaster Bob Costas told Real Time's Bill Maher that if Biden won't do it for the good of the country, then he should be, quote, shown the door by the party. So there's buzz behind it. It's not just this fringe talk. It's part of a mainstream conversation. But is it realistic? Logistically speaking, is it realistic? Well, it's effectively too late to primary the president. In many states, he's unopposed in the primary. In others, he faces only Dean Phillips, who's not a real threat in polling. And although he's vowed to stay in it, last week he reportedly laid off a lot of his campaign staff. Filing deadlines have passed for another candidate to get on enough ballots. So after Super Tuesday, Biden, backed by the party, and in some states like Florida, already the nominee, pretty much is going to sew up the deal. After all, at the DNC, the Democratic National Convention in August, delegates have pledged to vote whoever wins their respective primary. And by all accounts, Biden would have the 1,969 of 3,936 delegates needed to win the nomination. Now, there are some who theorize that Democratic delegates are not technically required to vote for Biden, but to just, in all good conscience, reflect the sentiments of those who elected them. Take that for what it is. It's kind of murky. But look, if the buzz and gossip got even more real, if there were a serious move to get Biden off the ticket and someone else on, how would it work? Do Democrats, by the way, even have a plan B? Well, for one thing, Biden could just step down. That's what those columnists are suggesting. And it's not unprecedented. In fact, it happened in 1968. In that primary, Lyndon Johnson stepped aside in March, leading to a nominating fight at the convention. That primary season also saw Robert F. Kennedy assassinated and violent protests and clashes in the streets of Chicago. By the way, this year's convention is also in Chicago, and RFK Jr. has been in the news and in the race, just to add to the parallels of everything. But yes, it is incredibly unlikely that Biden could be forcibly replaced or beaten outright, and he's shown no sign he wants to drop out. But if the recent calls for him to step down turn into a groundswell, if somehow he did decide to step aside, well, then it comes down to the convention. So if he stepped down and released his delegates, there'd be a vote. And if no one wins a majority, which is a likely scenario, then it becomes a brokered or contested convention, something that hasn't happened since 1952. And then on a second ballot, the superdelegates would step in. That's party luminaries, power brokers who count more than a regular delegate. They would help decide who the nominee would be. Now, remember, do you remember when Republicans were trying to choose a speaker? Remember that? How great that was? Picture that. All over the course of a few days in Chicago, with progressives and moderates vying for power, trying to cut deals, Trump watching what's happening in Mar-a-Lago. So it's possible, very, very messy. And would Biden even do it? If so, who could replace him? Well, to talk about this, I'm joined right now by J.D. Durkin, former chief White House correspondent for Cheddar, now a host at The Street and a contributor to CBS News. J.D., good to see you. I've laid it all out. Possible, not impossible, likelihood any of that happens.
I mean, even the fact that it takes, first of all, it's a great breakdown, but obviously we hear the challenges for this, and you can see the average voter kind of the eyes glazing over, not during your description, but just
I hope they understood that.
But of course, but the dizzying array of a delegate versus a super delegate, this and that, you're exactly right. Is it possible? Anything's possible. Very unlikely. I think it's also worth noting here, the two issues, the challenges facing the two candidates are not exactly the same, right? I mean, you're talking, the argument we hear from President Biden is, don't compare me to the almighty, compare me to the alternative. And like you've already covered on your show tonight, Jesse, the alternative is facing 91 felony charges and is just ordered by a judge to pay $350 million. That doesn't assuage the concerns of Democrats, but it does give the president that argument.
Thank you for watching. Go to NewsNationNow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.